The House of Representatives Committee's chairman on delegated legislation, Mr. Femi Bamisile, on Tuesday, revealed that the diversion of the federal government palliatives by state governments could be one of the main reasons behind the youth's anger and the proposed nationwide planned protests. Bamisile, who is representing Ekiti South Federal Constituency 2, said democracy is about dialogue. However, one that protests intended to be peaceful may be hijacked by evildoers, as witnessed during the coordinated protest to advocate for the abolition of Police Special Anti-Robbery Squad, that's the SAS, codenamed NSAS, under ex-President Muhammadu Buhari's government. He advised those planning to protest over harrowing hardship being experienced in the country to engage in dialogue with the president. You know, I stated this before I read this story out to you, talking about dialogue now. Engage in dialogue instead. This is a representative, a member of the House of Representatives, telling Nigerians to engage in dialogue instead of looking at the protest. And if we go to the very first paragraph of this particular story now, he made reference to the NSAS. He also talked about, that's the House of Representatives chairman on delegated legislation, but most know that that's the person we're talking about, that's Mr. Femi. Now, he revealed the diversion of the federal government palliatives by state governments. This is where I want to start from. He said this could be the main reason behind the youth's anger. First of all, do you see this as the main reason behind the youth's anger? Before we heard about palliatives, Nigerian youths were already talking about protests.
You know, well, there are a lot of reasons why the youth are hungry. Now, a member of the House of Representatives coming out to tell us that some state government have diverted palliative. You know, these are the things you hear in this country, and a marvelous one. How will a state governor, knowing fully well that whatever that is being given to you by the federal government actually meant for
the people.
For the people.
Not just the vulnerable.
Yes. So why, when you talk about vulnerable?
The poorest of the poor, that's how they like to put
okay,
it.
the poorest of the poor. But as it is,
since you talked about the different categories, the
okay,
poor,
fine.
you didn't mention the poorest of the poor. So.
It is in this dispensation that we now have the poorest of the poor. Because before now, what we have is the rich,
and the poor,
the middle class, and then the poor. So it got to a point where now no more middle class again. It's either you collapse to the rich or you go to the poor. But now in this dispensation, we now have the poorest. You can imagine the level we are. We should be talking about, you know, how our country has improved in terms of technology, in terms of economic and all of that. But we are still looking at, you know, where we were back in the days. You know, now a lot of things must have engineered the youth and must also engineer this protest. But looking at it now, I expect that the rep, not just coming on air to start telling that says some state governor, they should mention the states. So we get to know that, oh, exactly, these are the people, these are our problems. So we know how to face our problem. Because, because now, we are, the youth now are channeling their problems, their grievances to the federal government. But the federal government have come out to tell the youth, to tell Nigerians that, yes, we have given out palliative to state governors. But the state governors are now diverted. The same thing happened during the time of COVID-19. Should we continue in this act? When will our leaders learn that they are there to serve the people, not to be served? So these are the problems. The moment our leaders realize the fact that they are there for the masses, then we start seeing the turnaround in this country.
One would want to ask a big question. When I saw this report, it was quite, you know, I got quite emotional. One would want to ask a big question. Why any state government would want to divert palliatives or not want to distribute palliatives? We're talking about food products, and we're talking about people who can afford these food products. The other day we had a traditional ruler with us here in the studio who told us how sometimes these things are being shared. He suggested that it should be shared through the traditional rulers.
Yes, because they know their people. Yes.
They know the poorest of the poor
they know.
in their communities. But he also said something that caught my attention when he talked about these palliatives get sometimes the number that was designated or to them will not be the number that they will receive at the end of the day. So you find out that the people who are siphoning these palliatives are people who can afford it double. They can afford to get a factory that has this. So what is our problem with corruption in this country?
No, the challenge here is, our leaders. Our leaders, in fact, I don't know how to put it, but the fact remains that they are yet to realize the essence why they're on that seat. Or probably they don't even want the masses to live above them or to even come close to them.
With how many bags of rice?
So those are the problems.
We might not even have enough per family.
Those are the problems. Now, permit me to say, instead of them, sharing this palliative to the poorest of the poor, so they have taken that position.
Of the poorest of the poor.
That's what it is. Because these are things you should not even think about.
So what do you think the reason is now? What do
no,
you
the reason is no, it's just that it's selfishness. It's greed. You want to acquire more. They are not tired of what? Of grabbing. They are not tired. And then even the federal government too that give out all this palliative should also have a way of checkmating this.
That's another thing we need to look at.
They should have a way of checkmating it. If all these palliative are not getting to what? To the person designated for, questions should be asked, and those that are responsible should be brought to the board.
We hear this a lot when we hear that there are palliatives in a particular warehouse and they're just there for years. Look at what happened, like you made reference to the COVID-19 era where people had to start invading warehouses.
And then you can imagine seeing a lot of bags of this, bags of that,
they're hungry.
And they're hungry.
But what you said, palliatives are not what Nigerians need now.
No, that's the level we have now got into. But that's not what we need. But of course, before you can before you can ask me to go out there to do a thing, I need to feed well. So we have got to the level where we not beg to eat. But that shouldn't have been. What the government should have done is to open doors for opportunities. That is what the government should be doing. What you should be hearing that, these parastatals are employing these agencies, there are opportunities for employment. When people are gainfully employed, it's not an idle man, is a tool for the devil. When the mind is idle, you think about a lot of negative things. But when you engage your mind, you reason on how not just to improve yourself, even to improve your immediate environment and then the larger society.
You think we have a lot of idle youths in Nigeria?
Of course, I don't need to tell you about that. We have a whole lot of them out there. Some of them are graduates, but you see them riding the keke. Some of them are graduates, nothing to do. You see them begging around to feed. Whereby we have opportunities for them to be gainfully employed. And when these jobs come also too, it will be hijacked.
Unemployment has been a big problem in Nigeria. Even when prices of products were not this high, we have had the case of unemployment. And it almost looks like, experts have said that the government cannot employ every unemployed individual. And according to them, they have made reference to some other developed nations where the government cannot employ every single unemployed individual. That is their thought. But let's look at other things. Are there no other things that can be done except creating, in a case where the government cannot employ every unemployed individual, what then happens to those people who are not being employed?
Now, you make reference to other nations where their government cannot employ all the youth. Yes, good and fine. But there are things they have also put in place to ensure that those that are not employed are also okay.
Okay, so what are some of those things?
Now, we must have seen a situation whereby when you get to a particular age, maybe a stipend will be given to any citizen just to help either for transportation and all of that. Now, as a government...
That's monthly or at that age and that's it?
No, monthly. Until you're able to get yourself employed. You can also be, you can, not everyone should gain a job in a government parastatus. We also have private sectors.
Of course.
You understand? You can also develop yourself individually. Skills acquisition are all there.
Can the government afford to pay every unemployed citizen? Or every citizen when they get to a particular age? Can our economy handle that?
Yes, if you look at Nigerian economy, we are blessed.
Even though the government's complaining about funds not being enough and we're being borrowing?
Yes, because that's where we have found ourselves. While we are borrowing, government are still buying things. They are still doing things for themselves. They are buying private jets. We are still borrowing it.
And SUV?
Yes, sir. Now, the other day, this Senate, they came up to tell us that they're going to slide their salary by 50% for 6 months.
Yes, to help.
So that means that they know that there's suffering in the land. I was expecting them to, since the federal government has approved 70,000 minimum wage, let it start from them, as they're busy.
They should earn
and they are public servants too.
Let's not forget that this is the minimum. Like on the hierarchy, it's the least
That's the basic.
Staff. Yes.
Yes. So we have the least staff among them too. We have the least staff among them too. So it says charity begins at home. You cannot come up and start telling them you're going to slash your salary 50%.
Nigerians asked for that. Nigerians have been pointing at the lawmakers' salaries. And finally, the lawmakers have come out to say, we're slashing our salaries by 50%. But I've not heard one Nigerian say that is commendable. They're still saying that's not enough.
No, we are not saying you don't need to wait. See, there are things you do, though they may be right, but as at the time you carry out such action, they are not needed.
All this is not needed now.
It's not needed. We don't need them now.
We don't need that money.
We don't need them, even because that money will not even get to us. We will not even see it. Just the same way the federal government has distributed food stuff, food items, palliatives. How many of us have gotten it? And they are coming to, so we have some of the vulnerable among us, but none of them have come to me that I've seen mine. Because we move around, we see things. Now 50,000 naira door to door. When last did this country carry that census? For you to know those that are vulnerable and those that are not vulnerable, and those that the money will get to. So let's stop deceiving ourselves. What we are telling the government is, leave the palliative. Leave your 50,000 naira grant or loan. What we need is that open up opportunities for what? For the youth to get employed. Now, make things to work. All those textiles industries, all those industries that we have that are not working, make them to work.
And
by so doing,
within what period of time?
No, when you see, they said a step, just a step. You don't need to do them at a go. Just a step. We will see that this government is working. Even roads, there's a way you open up roads within the country. It brings development. So it's not just channeled to one side. You know that we have the social amenities. Electricity, we don't even talk about that. You know that people now find it difficult to even recharge. So when people find things difficult to do, they think of alternative. And alternatives are not always the best. Now, if I cannot recharge my meter, I'll start thinking of another way out. But that ordinarily is not me. But I'm being pushed to do this.
So the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Esomike, has made a statement about this protest being political. We also heard Goziba Onanuga, who said that this protest is being led by Peter Obi. In fact, he said the Labour Party, even though Nigerians have come up to talk against it, but that statement was made that the Labour Party are the ones fueling the protest. Now, Esomike also said this is political. Do you see this protest as being political? What do you think about that statement?
They are politicians. So politicians can say anything just to what? To divert and make people feel that they actually have the interest of the country at heart.
So I don't think it's political?
This protest is not political. We are all seeing what is happening. So you call it there's no political undertone.
Could want to take advantage of that and
there's no political undertone to the protest. Right? There's no political undertone. It's not political. It is a protest that is geared towards what? Government sitting up and do what is expected of them. So they come in, yes, we can come into...
Yeah, they feel like opposition parties, you know, people that did not win during the 2023 election are then...
Is it only P2B that didn't win? Is it only P2B that didn't win?
No, that's a statement by one individual. Other people are saying this could just be opposition parties trying to arrange for some Nigerian youths to go out to the streets.
So why will you also allow... Yes, fine. You know that you have opposition, right? So why will you allow yourself to be dragged up to this point? That you now allow the opposition to now come in to mob our youth to come against you.
What do you
so
mean?
what you have done...
Let's look at the steps. I know you have mentioned all what you feel the government has not done. But let's look at the steps that the government took when they came into power. Right? This administration. Is there any particular move or is there any particular policy that you think is, you know, or actually has been detrimental to the economy?
Now, the issue of terrorism, bandits. Now, people find it difficult to go to their farmland. Fear of what? Insecurity. Insecurity is a major, in fact, is one of the major factor and challenge of this country. Because when you plan to do a thing and your life is at stake, you forget about it. So insecurity is the major problem.
What do Nigerians think President Bola Tinubu did when he came into office that has put us where we are today as an economy or as a nation?
By not listening to the cry of the people.
Or could it be the fuel subsidy removal now?
So what has that, removing the fuel subsidy, in what way has that improved the economy? Those are the questions. Because
has it damaged the economy?
Yes, it did a lot. Yes, it has. Because when we have this fuel subsidy, we are living well. We never even knew.
Nigerians asked for it to be taken off.
No, we never even knew either. No, because yes, at a point.
Because they said it was a scam.
At a point, you know, that's Nigeria. But you as a comment, you know. Not that removing it is an issue. Before, let's say for instance, the table we are now, probably I feel that this table, I don't need it anymore. I want to change the table. I should have made a plan for a bigger table. That is what? That is more than this. So when I bring the table here, you don't have any reason to complain, but to want to commend the fact that yes. But you want to change this table. You have not had any plan of getting on that table. And you just come in and you remove this table that I'm managing. And then you allow me to remain. I've been watching you, believing that you will come with a new table. But you never did.
This government said they met a dead economy.
Oh, and now what is it? As the economy resurrected? You met a dead economy. We expect you to revive the economy. And instead of reviving the economy, you even worsen the economy. So that's what the government have done. This economy has been dead for so long. We'll be looking for who will revive the economy. And when they come out to vie for this position, in their manifestos, they will tell you a whole lot of things. I'm going to revive the economy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. The same way they were able to to implement, I keep saying it. It did not take the National Assembly with the federal government 1 week or two to change the national anthem. It did not take them 1 or 2 weeks to procure private jets. Why is it so difficult to revive this economy within 6 months and 1 year?
Wow.
Yes, because private jets, do you know how much it is?
You think that's possible?
It's more than possible.
A year to revive an economy that they say
it is more than possible.
Dead?
If an individual, let's say in a family, let me give an instance, in a family, when a family is doing well, right, you will see it. Even within a week, you will see it. Nigeria is just like a family. It's policy. You as a federal government pass a bill to the Senate, and then let them put it to law. That's what we are saying.
All right.
That's a bill.
So
Then I put it to law.
we want to see the president come up with more bills, right? To be put into law. All right, let's look at the next story now.